Hey guys, Cory from theovershield.com here, and man, I've been putting this off for way too long. My review of Aliens, Colonial Marines, and my review of Tomb Raider. Essentially my best and worst of February and March is what this is. And I mean, I played quite a few number of games. I played Aliens, Colonial Marines. I played Monster Hunter. I played the new Castlevania game. I played BioShock. I played Tomb Raider. I just recently picked up Injustice. So I'm now not on a shortage of games here. It's just that it's just me getting around to it. So let's start off with the worst.
Corporal Dwayne Hicks, distress. My unit has suffered immense casualties on LV-426.
Oh, where do I start? Aliens Colonial Marines was a complete disaster of a game. It shouldn't even have been shipped. I mean, Gearbox totally fucked this up. Where do I begin? The story takes place on LV-426. I don't remember the planet's name anymore. I mean, I got rid of the game as soon as I was done with it because it was just utter shit. But as someone who is I love Aliens. I think it's a cool premise. I love the idea of a survival horror Aliens game. And it's like all the trailers and everything had me so excited for this game. But yeah. Essentially, it takes place on the planet that Aliens was on and this and that after the nuclear reactor or whatever thing blew up. And essentially, it's like a couple months later, you're a group of Marines that's been sent there because some other Marine ship. Basically, the plot is super thin. It's pretty bad. And for some reason, the plot tries to come up with ways to give you the excuse that you're fighting more than aliens. Eventually you do fight humans, which is a problem because the game ends up becoming half humans, half aliens you're fighting half the time. I signed up to fight aliens, not humans. I didn't sign up to play Call of Duty, thank you. So needless to say, that happens in the second level. So you imagine that literally like 20 minutes into the game, my jaw hit the floor and I pretty much uttered the three words, "What the fuck?" Because, god damn. The controls are horrible. You feel really clunky. It doesn't feel smooth like it did in Gearbox's Borderlands. I mean, these games couldn't be farther apart. It's really odd that the same developer who put out the amazing Borderlands and also the great Brothers in Arms franchise can be responsible for this atrocity. So, who knows? The AI in the game is completely awful too. When I mean awful, I mean when you think aliens, you think stealth and that they're crawling out of the shadows and the vents and they'll sneak up behind you and kill you from behind, and it's just you have to be on your toes. That radar is your best friend. Not here. Instead, it's just like generic shooter sci-fi edition, except it has alien skin on it. Well, here's what they do. They pop out at you, run up, start doing this shit, and then bounce back and let you shoot at them. Fucking kid you not. That's all they do. The final boss battle can be hardly considered a boss battle. It took me 2 minutes to finish, and it was a joke. As I said, the story has horrible plot holes. And when I mean a big plot hole, I mean a big plot hole. Play it for yourselves if you dare, to find out what that plot hole was. But basically, a character who's in the game shouldn't be in the game. I'm not going to spoil it, but hint, it's someone from the movie. So basically the single player, complete crap. So I tried doing co-op through the single player with my buds because it's about teaming together and being stuff like that. Online co-op, I had no issues with lag and whatnot, but when you have more than yourself, the game feels way too easy. I mean, even on the hardest difficulty, you're just breezing through it. It's so it felt like the game wasn't even designed for co-op in the first place. I then tried split screen co-op, and this is on the 360. I can't verify for the PS3 version, but the 360 version has horrible lag issues. And when I mean horrible lag issues, I mean from the time I moved my stick, it took a half second for the actual character to move. So it's like it's annoying as hell. And not to mention, if this was any sort of game with smart AI, you'd be fucked. But luckily, it wasn't too much of an issue actually getting through the game with it. It's just really distracting. The multiplayer, which I hope would be the game's saving grace, playing as the Marines is actually somewhat of a guilty pleasure. Actually, it's rather fun in a sense, because you don't have to deal with the shitty AI because all the players are the aliens. So basically, you got smart people, if they're actually good, controlling the aliens, and so you're actually forced to use that radar. You're forced to actually like look in the shadows and be damn careful. Except there's one problem. The Marines are really overpowered, so the aliens don't feel like much of a challenge. The aliens are even worse. Basically, God, how do I say this? It's like controlling a school bus that's on a sled. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels clunky and movable, and when you try to get on ceilings, the game tries to kick you off the ceiling. The camera gets wonky, and essentially it's fucked up. That's the best way I can describe it. Man. And this game has so much potential. The only thing I thought was rather cool that the single player did was the unlockables. The unlockables actually made you want to find them. The unlockables were essentially like little audio tapes that gave you more into the inside of the lore of the Aliens universe. Like the little girl Newt, you find out about her parents and stuff like that. You find out about what all this creepy, shadowy stuff that we always knew that Weyland Yutani was doing. And it was rather cool. That, and then there's the legendary weapons, if I remember that's what they're called. Basically, you find versions of the guns that the actual movie characters use. You find Hicks's shotgun, Vasquez's smart gun. It's great, and they have all the little like perks. So like Vasquez's smart gun has her bandana tied to it and has the Spanish writing and whatnot. But what's even greater is that these weapons are much more powerful. Oh, another note about the side smart gun. Coolest concept ever, an auto-targeting Gatling gun. Problem is you only use it for 5 minutes of the whole game. It's not even an equipable weapon. You randomly find it, you pick it up, you use it till it's out of ammo, and guess what? You don't see it until about 2 hours later. I mean, literally, it was a waste of potential. So, what is my final verdict on this game? God damn. I had a tough time deciding, and I'm going to give Aliens Colonial Marines a 3 out of 10. Because it is shit. Moving on. I'm not talking about this game anymore. It's like giving me cancer.
A famous explorer once said that the extraordinary is in what we do, not who we are.
Alright, so Tomb Raider. Where did I begin about Tomb Raider? Oh, fantastic game. Laura is back and she's better and sexier than ever. Man, I was really not expecting this game to be as good as it was. I was really actually expecting more of an Uncharted clone, like a clone of the Uncharted games where they swap Nathan Drake for Laura and just kind of go with that. But no, actually they use really clever mechanics. Laura herself as a character is very vulnerable and everything, since it is kind of her origin story. So you're playing as a very vulnerable person in a very harsh environment. That's the very theme of the game. The story of the game is basically Laura is is trying to find this ancient Japanese civilization with her friend who is somehow a descendant of the queen. I don't know. Basically, they find it by crashing on the island in the middle of a storm. So basically, it's like, okay, well, we'll just camp out and send for help. Problem is that it's filled with all the other shipwreck guys, and they're fucking crazy. And I mean crazy. River of Blood? Most metal thing ever. But it's so basically they kind of went from being, oh well, we're fucked, to being, oh man, we're up shit creek without a paddle. And it's so basically Laura is kind of put into this situation where she has to save her friends. She's the only one who's capable to do it, and you can tell at the very beginning of the game she's not the Laura that we're used to. She has trouble. It's like she has a huge emotional problems after she kills her first person. I mean, you can tell it. The character animation is done very well to express her emotion. Even killing her first deer. Oh my god. I thought she was going to start bawling like a baby. Oh, I thought I was going to start bawling like a baby. No, not really. But... oh, the gameplay. That is and the story keeps going. There ends up being some sort of mystical thing into it, kind of like all the Tomb Raider games are. So yeah, and it's actually a really good story with a great end, and Laura becomes a more developed and braver person than she was at the very beginning. She becomes changed. The gameplay. Wow, where do I begin? The gameplay feels let's just say, it has the running and everything has that Uncharted feel. It feels very fluid. You can feel the character, like when you run and then you move into another direction, they actually have to stop for a moment and then turn themselves around. It's very much like that. The cover system is very interesting in the game because it's automatic. Oh yeah, it's an automatic cover system. Pretty damn cool if you ask me. And it works very well. And Laura, she, like I said, the animations of the game are amazing. She has so many different variations for her firing mechanic just when she's in cover, and depending on how you shoot. It's really good. She can use the environment against her enemies and everything, or even to aid herself, which is even cooler. And in different ways that you couldn't think possible. Like, oh, I'll shoot an arrow with a rope attached to this block over here, pull it over so I have a way to jump over. Did not think that was possible until I tried it, and I was like, oh shit, I can try this? I can do this? Wow, I wonder what else you can do. And there's a lot more things you can do in the game, but I'd rather not spoil it because it is just like, it's kind of mind-boggling that it's just like, why hasn't anybody else tried this? Especially the Uncharted series. So, the game, basically, Laura does have a level up system. There is some RPG mechanics, but it's not really worth noting because, sure, it helps make Laura more powerful and this and that and get other skills, but essentially everybody's going to have the same Laura skill tree set, whatever, by the end of the game. I mean, there's no variation to it. I mean, I was really hoping that, like, you could choose to either be, like, a survivalist or a fighter or this and that, and just, like, basically, it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors mechanic, usually within RPGs. However, it didn't pan out, so I thought it was kind of wasted potential. But, I really cannot stress how great this game's mechanics are and everything. Everything feels very natural, and it feels very smooth. And it feels just realistic. This game is very realistic to an extent on how things are portrayed. Laura is not a bullet sponge. She cannot absorb damage very much. It doesn't take much to kill her. That being said, there is still regenerative health, which kind of throws out the immersive. Personally, I like the idea of health packs, aka old school. That's how I am. If I'm being elitist, fuck you. Basically, I don't know where to stop blathering on about how great this is. There is an upgrade system to the guns, which actually feels rather good. The upgrade system has you find parts. You find, well, not really parts. You find pieces like scrap metal and stuff like that. And the more scrap metal you have, the more you can buy certain upgrades and stuff like that. And eventually, Laura, she starts out with like a crappy homemade bow, and then by the end of it, she has like one of those like $500 recurve bows you see at like Dick's Sporting Goods. But oh, not a plug-in. But it's so yeah, there is a weapon upgrade system. So basically, your weapon setup can be different for your Laura by the end of it. But like I said, like your skill tree, no. Shit. I'm really going off the cusp here. Let's see. And then there's the game's presentation. Oh my god, this is probably, in my opinion, the most gorgeous game to date. That being said, I haven't played Crysis 3 or some other games and stuff like that. But personally, just from an epic standpoint, it's amazing. It's the vastness and scope of the island and everything, because the draw distances are huge. So you can, which if you can see it, you can get to it, to an extent. But the character details and everything are great. The only texture problem that I wasn't very fond of was the water. I thought the water was fairly weak, but that's just me nitpicking. The game itself looks very beautiful. You can see all the little details when Laura gets cut up, and when she's in certain situations and stuff, her character model changes. Like when she goes into that river of blood, she's actually comes out and your character is covered in blood until it eventually gets washed off by a waterfall or whatever. And so basically, it's kind of like, it has like that little kind of what happens to you stays with you idea that was presented in Arkham, which I think is very cool, and it kind of adds to the fact that Laura is a survivor. I keep forgetting that this existed. The game itself is amazing just by the single player alone, but there is a multiplayer. Oh yeah. They actually added a multiplayer, but it's not really worth talking about. It's, if you want to, the multiplayer to me feels like a complete rip-off of Uncharted's multiplayer, but it doesn't. It feels way more chaotic. The spawn system is crap, and so basically it's more of luck on how you kill somebody rather than skill. So yeah, just you can disregard the multiplayer in its entirety, in my opinion. Though the crappiness of the multiplayer to me does not take away from the overall experience. So, what is my final verdict on Lara Croft Tomb Raider, or just Tomb Raider in general? That's what the game is called, but I think it is a fantastic experience. I think if you love adventure games, buy this game. I mean, it's worth every penny. If you can find it on sale, even better. Personally, if you can do it, if you can run it, get the PC version. It looks better. You save yourself about $10. And I think it's on sale for Steam right now, so you can get it for like $45, $40, I think. Great deal. So, what do I give Tomb Raider? Well, I thought about making it an 8 out of 10 because of the crappy multiplayer. However, looking at the entirety of the package that I was looking at, whatever, I came to the conclusion that just basically that the multiplayer really doesn't take away from the overall experience. In fact, I don't think it was even needed. I'm just off the single player alone, I'm giving Lara Croft's Tomb Raider a 9 out of 10. It is an amazing game. You should go buy it. Now, it's not 10 out of 10 and stuff like that people are giving it, nor is it like these 6s and 7s that I'm seeing people get, and they're nitpicking about the idea that Laura being a survivor and basically when she kills people, she's not a survivor anymore. She's being brutal, and it doesn't match. Well, that's fucking nitpicking, and that shouldn't really take away from the overall experience. So yes, Lara Croft's Tomb Raider, 9 out of 10. Go buy it. So yeah, that's been my dual review, the best and the shit, essentially. Aliens Core Marines, shit. Lara Croft's Tomb Raider, amazing. So there's my little review. I'm done. See you guys next time.